Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
When I was laying with my son, trying to get him to go to sleep, I was watching some ASMR on TikTok.
Ooh, that's why it was popping up online. I was like, what is this?
I was just back there like watching some. Yeah, that's why. And you know what? And we have a whole episode about it.
Yeah.
But
you want to go back?
Listen to what we had to say. But I had said that I like those role play ones, but sometimes they get like really random and like specific. And I came across a new one this time.
Okay.
Where she eats your face.
What?
And she was like, I didn't even pay attention what the girl's name was, but she takes a spoon like she's eating your face. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's so sick.
I was just like, it was a little bland this time.
This time.
She regularly eats your face.
How does somebody even come up with that?
And then I came across one of her like kind of doing that, but she was like taking the bad energy and like eating it.
I don't know about that.
I know. Like, I like the role play ones, but some of those get a little...
That doesn't relax me.
No.
You eating my face off with a spoon? The one that kind of creeps me out that I'll see sometimes is like that girl in the back of the class that plays with your hair. I'm like, I don't want anybody in the back of the classroom to be playing with my hair.
And like... You're looking at it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I like the makeup ones or like the
Yeah.
face mask and stuff. But when it's like something like I need it to be literally that way, or else I'm gonna have to turn around with my phone and just hear
and really get into character.
I know. But I just thought that was funny. That's a
so
new one. I've not come across that one.
Requested. It was a special request.
She goes, people have requested that they don't like my eye contact when I'm doing it. So I'm going to put a sleep mask on you. So she like covers the screen with like a face mask.
Gosh.
I was like, doesn't like the eye contact. Then why are you watching the role play ones? Like, oh my gosh.
Then freaking just close your eyes. Like, what are you
doing? And just fear it. Yeah, but I was like, did somebody really say
They made a comment.
Eye contact.
Hey, she's taking the criticism
she is,
and
she's
doing it. Good
she's
for
giving
her.
the people what they want.
Put a face mask on.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny.
I saw a piece of breaking news as I was coming over here, and we don't want to go deep into this one because it's a little controversial, but I saw the armorer from the Rust case.
Oh, I saw that
was
too.
Charged.
I know, I did see that. Found guilty.
Yep. Guilty. So that makes me wonder
what's going to happen
with Alec Baldwin.
Right.
I don't know if they can actually prove him guilty of that. If they're proving her guilty, how can they would have to say that he would know that it was a real live gun.
Did it say what her sentencing was? Because I didn't look at anything. I didn't look,
and I don't know if they probably didn't even do it. Usually they do like the conviction and then the sentencing, so maybe they didn't. But I just saw that headline pop up. I was like, oh. I didn't realize that case was happening like right now.
I know. Well, and then we kind of stopped hearing about it. I know.
That was such a wild situation. Like I mean, absolute worst case scenario on a movie set. It's like unfathomable.
I know.
So I wonder how long she will get because obviously somebody died.
I know. And then it's kind of. And it's a weird thing, too, because it's like, well, who was her, superior?
Yeah.
Is anybody who, hired her
and
going to be held accountable?
I think that was kind of to say low budget, I think sounds kind of silly because it's obviously like a Hollywood film with Alec Baldwin in it. But I think comparatively to other movies, it was a little bit more low budget. So, I don't know if I don't even know what production company was behind it.
No.
So we will see. I guess Alec Baldwin is next. I don't know. We'll keep you updated for your breaking news.
It does seem like Hilaria is just acting like nothing happened.
Oh yeah, she is. It has felt like that from the beginning, basically. She's acted like nothing. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess they have like a million kids. She's trying to keep things normal for them. I don't know. I don't know. She's a strange character. I don't really know what all to say about her. She is. That could be a whole episode in and of itself. Right. The other news was that Lala Kent is pregnant with her second baby. Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know if Lala said it, or I know Heather McDonald said that she's about 13 weeks along.
Yeah, from when that was recorded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, good for her. I mean, it is good for her.
It is good for her. I don't really like the narrative that she's kind of like giving. It's like, it's fine if you want to have another baby and stuff, but like, I've just seen some clips where her and her mom are like, this is our baby. We're not in control, or no one's in control of us. And I don't know. I just think some of that was a bit much.
I think that children can be raised by all sorts of family dynamics, but things can get complicated, and she is kind of making it unnecessarily complicated.
I know.
I mean, I get wanting to have another kid, but like we said in a previous episode, she's just a little bit older than us. She has plenty of time to have another kid with somebody that she actually, wants to have a full-on family with. And I just feel like saying, well, I want my kids to be close in age is just such a, okay.
I know.
I don't know. Is that really that big of a deal?
I know, because it's like they're either going to like each other or they're not. And they could be twins and hate each other. It's like, I don't. And I saw something where she said the best part about, something about a baby daddy. She's like, that I don't have one. And it's like, well, you do, but it's like it's like a different arrangement. But the child, I don't know. I guess I just worry about like the mental health later.
Yeah, or just, I don't know, things with Randall are still so up in the air. And then I don't know. It just doesn't really seem like a good time for her to even have another kid. I don't know. I guess.
And when they were like, again, I just saw a clip, so I don't know if they talked more on it. But when the brother was like, now Ocean finally has a sibling. I'm like, she has siblings from her dad. Like, well, and it's like a weird.
We've said before, like Randall is the scum of the earth. Like what he did was disgusting. But I have seen on his Instagram, like he'll post, and I'm sure it's for show, but he'll post a lot like when he has his other girls and Ocean. And I mean, the girls seem to get along really well. It's not as if Ocean never hangs out with anybody. And like, I mean, we have become kind of like siblings, but we're not biological sisters. And I mean, I just imagine that could be the way things are for Summer Moon and Ocean. You know, I mean, I guess she didn't really need a baby brother or sister right now.
And it's like, again, it's like, I just don't like what she's saying publicly. Like, I think it's totally
if
cool.
She wants to do,
it's totally cool.
That's what she wants.
And it's cool to like talk about, like, you can have a family, like all families have different stuff, but I just don't like the stuff that her and her like mom are saying, and like, and it just kind of seems like since and I know that it's not like this, but what's being said, it's like, well, we can't control Ocean, but we can have this new one that we can control. And I feel like if Ocean heard that when she was older, it would be like,
well, wait, what was wrong with my situation with my dad? Yeah. Or also, I mean, we've said this when we talked about it before too, like this is such an unbelievably privileged situation. And I don't know, I haven't listened to every interview that she's given talking about this, but like let's not forget about that. Like there are so many women that want to have families
that can't just get the IUI.
Like they don't have the financial means to do that, or the familial support like Lala. Like they need a partner in their life to have a baby, and that's just a huge thing that I feel that we're not really discussing.
I know.
Which, I mean, we're living very different lives. That's something that you or I would never be able to do.
Right. And I know. And it does kind of feel like a Hollywood hoity-toity thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's just, it's just
I think she's a good mom. I think she's a great mom to Ocean. I think she'll be a great mom to this new baby. If she wants a baby so badly, amazing for her. I'm glad that she's able to do it. It's just, I think the narrative around it makes it a little like,
I know, it's like, awkward. But I know, and in the way it's coming across, at least to me, is like, well, I want a baby, but I don't want any of the complicated parts of another party being involved. And I don't know, it just is not coming across very well to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And like I said, just some of the stuff the mom and like the brother were saying was kind of like, and they're like, the mom is like, we could take this kid everywhere with us. We could do whatever we want with the kid. And I was like, I don't know. That just feels like a dig at like,
because
the other kid.
Right. Or like, is this new baby going to be on the show?
Right.
And Ocean can't be on the show.
Right.
Yeah. I know. I mean, maybe this is very traditionalist, but like coming from a single parent household, like it always is like a little uncomfortable when you're celebrating like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and you don't have that person in your life, when you're in school. Like, even if you feel very happy with your parental situation, like it always is a little bit like, oh, well, what do I do? Because I don't, and it just,
I know,
I don't know.
I guess that's what I was trying to lean at too. It's like I'm just worried about the mental health of the child too, like as it ages, and then to have a sibling that has the two parents.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. It's hard to talk about it without, and it's nothing personal towards Lala, but it's just the way she's talking about it and not talking about like what it'll mean later on for the child.
I mean, I think it's better than the alternative of
just getting a random person to have a kid with,
or the Kardashian way of let me go to the same guy again,
just to have all my kids have the same parent. But well, even on Love is Blind season 4, they kind of like brought this up. One of the girls had donated her eggs to families, and I can't remember how many she said, but it was kind of like a lot. And she's like, those could all be used.
Yeah.
And she said, I signed a paper that when they're 18, that they can get my information.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And she's like, if they want to or don't want to, but I said they could. She's like, so like later on in life when we're married, these kids could show up.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whoa.
That's a big thing,
It is. Well, it wasn't there like what was that? Was it like on MTV or something where it was like show that they were all from this?
Was that a True Life?
I feel like it was like a full-blown show or like a 2-hour special or something, and they were like all meeting each other because they were from the same sperm
I remember
donor.
what you're talking about.
That was. I'll look it up later.
Yeah, that's
I mean, it
wild.
was like another complicated thing.
Yeah, I mean, what if when this baby gets older, they want to find who their bio dad is, and then okay, so what Lala thought was going to happen of not having this guy, which obviously he wouldn't have any like rights to the child, but it's just they could still seek him out and have a relationship with him.
Because it is like a part of them.
Yeah.
I do think, it's kind of wild.
It's just challenging to talk about because I think, and everybody has a right to do whatever they want with their familial situation and their bodies and whatever. But it's just, I feel like it's a way more complicated decision to make than she kind of is making it seem to the public.
Right. And she could be having all these thoughts, but I've not seen her talk about them publicly. And maybe she will at some point.
Yeah, maybe she will, or maybe
she doesn't care. I can't tell.
I don't know. Maybe she'll talk about it when they do the reunion.
Right.
Or she'll still be pregnant when they film next season too. So
yeah. And she did you watch What Happens Live?
No, I didn't.
She said she doesn't know the gender. But I wonder, so is the IUI just like they're not making embryos, they're just putting the sperm right in? Is that how that works, like when she's ovulating?
I think so.
Because that would make sense more to like, I don't know the gender. But then also people with embryos are like, I don't care what one you put in.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, I've never looked up the differences.
No.
Yeah. I'm never going to be in that situation. So, can't afford that. Speaking, I guess I'll talk about housewife stuff when we touch on Beverly Hills. Over the weekend, Hannah and I went to a cooking class.
We did.
And made macaroons.
Yeah, macarons.
French. And it was fun. You might have seen our TikTok about it, our social media post about it. But yeah, they were good. We had a couple little complications.
We did.
But
still good.
Overall, it was fun. Something new.
It was fun. And it was something like different to do.
Yeah, than just going to a movie or shopping only, which we did that afterwards. But
still,
doing something like more, I don't know, active, you say? Or it's just,
or like out of your comfort zone. Like going to like a class, I always feel like even we kind of talked about it, it's always like I don't know, we were like nervous for some reason. And I think just like doing something that was out of our comfort zone, and like even classes like that, you do get nervous for some reason because you don't know what the vibe's gonna be.
Yeah, we didn't know who else was gonna be in the class. No, we didn't know
how big the class was gonna be, and it ended up being totally fine. But it was like, wait a minute.
We went to a sur la table, so I can see why those classes fill up so quickly because the kitchen was
4 people,
kind of smaller. Yeah. So that makes sense now, because we had looked at this like in January, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So and we
like they're filling up fast. We're like, oh my goodness,
we had to
like
book
40
all the
people.
way out to March. But yeah, it was fun. It was. I don't know if we'll ever. We could try. They sent us the recipe, but I wonder, like...
I do want to try again under the supervision of my grandma.
Well, she has the KitchenAid, and I think that is very helpful. I don't have one of those, and I think if you don't have a standing mixer, then...
It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Very challenging.
So, but it was fun. We had some younger people in our class, and then a couple that was middle-aged.
Yeah. They're probably literally our age. I always think everyone's older than me.
They had to have been older. There's no way. But it was cute. That was like our little day out. But we were it was fine, but we had to get up so early.
We did. Because we had to like drive across the state, literally. I'm like at one end of the state.
We literally did have to. Yeah, and then we were like zonked by the time we got back. Like, it was just zoned out on the way home, like trying to stay alive.
I know.
We should have gotten like coffees for the road or something. I don't know why we didn't think of that.
Just like to torture ourselves.
I know.
I'd rather it be earlier or later. I don't like the
awkward
stuff.
middle of the day.
So it like takes the whole day away from you.
Yeah, because we got back at like 3, which wasn't bad.
No, and we like talked at lunch, like we got lunch, talked, and then got groceries.
Yeah, Trader Joe's.
Shout out.
In Sephora, we had to stop.
Oh yeah,
there
we
too.
did do Sephora. I forgot.
Yeah,
we didn't shop. Yes, we did.
Only like 2 places.
Yeah.
I did want to say that I don't even know what brand that lip gloss was that I got. It's not too minty.
Okay.
So it definitely doesn't make my lips feel
like burning.
No,
like
no. It was a very, very, it was more just like the taste of mint versus the feeling.
Remember those ones at Bath and Body Works?
Yeah, the
like,
Seal Bigelow.
Yeah, freshen your breath.
Yeah. You just like, eat them. You literally just suck it all in.
Or like
licking your lips constantly. Those were so good.
I know. They were
they
so
were
good.
Why
do they even make them
I don't know.
anymore?
I was just about to say.
Those are like everything.
I would honestly buy those again.
I know. And I remember I was like obsessed with the one that kind of had like a little bit of a berry like tint to the lips. It probably literally wasn't any. Just like it's a berry tint.
It was just that red dye.
Literally.
That you were eating.
I know, right? No wonder I couldn't pay attention in class.
Oh, God.
Man, those were good.
I don't really have a whole heck of a lot of other stuff for this week.
I have just a couple like random. I was, I don't even know what, I had watched that, those music videos with my kids.
Oh, yeah.
The Disney Channel one, but then I ended up looking up AJ Trough, I think. Trough. Twitty from Even Stevens. The long-haired hottie. I like looked him up, and one of the things that popped up was he was married to Leah Pipes, who was in Pixel Perfect.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
But they like were married. I can't remember the years. So I think they divorced in 2019, but it was like later on. Like, I don't think they were, if they were dating.
COVID got them.
That's what it did. But yeah, and they were like married, but I don't know if they were like dating during the Disney era.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Kimberly J. Brown and that other guy that played
they got
Cal.
together later. Yeah.
I just thought that was cute.
It is so bizarre, though, with the Disney Channel stars.
I know.
Like, how they all weirdly stay interconnected.
I know. Like, they've got all those podcasts now. They're, like, off. Like, No, it wasn't him. Oh, and then I was looking up Stephen Anthony Lawrence Beans.
Oh, okay.
And he had like a picture on his Instagram, I think it was a couple of years ago, with like Lalaine from Lizzie McGuire. I'm like, why are you guys
what's happening?
Hanging out?
Like, you guys seriously stayed friends?
Literally.
Like, what's going on?
I know. It's just funny how they all like, they've all got their podcasts and like getting back together, and you do wonder, like, did they stay in touch all these years? But it seems like they kind of did.
It seems kind of like the friendships are genuine.
I know. Like they enjoyed their time.
I know. Like, we don't hear that very often from Disney. It's a different perspective.
And like that Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Yeah, they have a whole podcast. God, I loved that show.
I know. And I was thinking too, they like the ad, I've never listened to it, but the ad for it's like, now we're talking about like the old episodes, but also like about being an adult too. And that literally would have been an awesome show to like have that cast back and like hooking up or or getting jobs or getting fired from jobs. Like I think it would just, I don't know how well
it would go
over, but even with like that Lizzie McGuire thing they were gonna do and Hilary Duff was like, we just can't agree on what to do with this. She's like, I want it to be more authentic, but they don't.
Well, and it's so hard. I mean, they can't put that on Disney,
right?
You know, I mean, I wonder if they could do a Disney Plus exclusive type thing or whatever. But yeah, it's just so hard though, because if it was like a special, I would watch it. But as far as like a series, I don't know if I could get back
I know that's why they'd have to do it really good and be really like fun about it and make us want to be like interested in the characters again.
Yeah.
Like I think it would just, I don't know, it just would be fun. I was like, man, that if they could do it right, like you'd have to literally go, like not be afraid to go there, to have like the real experiences
and just make it authentic.
Yes.
I loved Ned's Declassified.
It was
such a good show.
I know, and it was so cute, and it was such a cute concept. Like Ned, you know, like all these little things, and he's like talking to us.
And he was so cute. I loved him.
I know.
Ned. Like, why did they choose that name?
It was such a like, and he was such like that, like the long hair, the button up with the long sleeve shirt,
skater boy kind of, yeah.
So of the time,
like very typical Disney teen heartthrob.
I know.
That was a good one.
I love it. Well, speaking of like skaters and stuff, there's this podcast, I haven't listened to it before until today. It's called The Latchkey Siblings. And I know of it because one of the girls that did that Degrassi podcast that I was obsessed with, it's her and her siblings.
Okay.
And there's 3 of them, or like her name's Holland, and then there's a sister, Allegra, and then the brother is Gray. They have like cool names.
Yeah, they do.
But they go back and watch like old movies from when they were kids, and then they kind of like rate it, and then there's kind of like a competition, like they have to defend the movie. And then like they do seasons of it or whatever.
Okay.
But they did the movie that I love, Lords of Dogtown.
Oh yeah.
I freaking love that movie. But even because I watched it not that long ago, like,
wait, is that the one with Justin Timberlake?
No, that's Alpha
Dogs. I knew it was a
Dogs,
dog thing. Okay.
No, this is the one with Emile Hirsch and like Keith Ledger.
Yes.
Such a good movie. But even they were like, this was still like a good movie. Like it really held up. And then they were talking about like the skateboarding, and when that came out, it was like our era of the skateboarders. Like I think they said in 2005, and then I started thinking about like all the shows.
Yeah,
like,
remember Ryan Sheckler?
Yeah, Ryan Sheckler, Viva La Bam.
Yeah.
Who else? Oh, and then Scarred.
Yeah.
Remember that show with all the injuries?
Or oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that one.
I remember it'd come on at like 10 o'clock at night.
And it was brutal.
It was.
It really was.
I don't know if any of the listeners remember that, but basically they would send in clips of like these like biking, skateboarding incidents, and they'd like show it.
Yeah, they would.
And then because they'd be caught on video, and then they'd show like the x-rays and everything.
Yeah,
you remember that?
It was bad.
And then they'd talk about the injury, and like some people would freaking like bust their like tailbones or their faces, and you just see like they
or like
swelled up.
A leg with like a bone sticking out. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was.
What
crazy.
was that one Nickelodeon show with the skateboarding? Remember, there was like I think it was a brother and a sister. It was a cartoon. I can't think of it. Rocket Power.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
they
that?
did all that, the surfing, the rollerblading.
And then the other Disney Channel movie, Brink. Oh, that was a good one.
Hot.
That was a great one. How can we forget?
Yeah, what's his name? I can't remember, but he was in Princess Diaries too.
Yeah, but he wasn't like as cute today as he was back then.
No, he was the hair.
But that doesn't matter.
I know, it was that look of them. Yeah, like just that skateboarding. It was so
that middle part.
I know, the wave.
And then when he'd take his like helmet off and flip his hair.
It's like,
with the highlights in it.
Yeah, I wonder how like old he was, because I haven't rewatched Brink in
my God,
so many years.
yeah.
I wonder how old like he was.
For real.
Yeah, he was probably like 14.
Yeah, well, so were we. I mean, we were young.
We were probably younger than that.
Yeah, honestly.
It's just so funny. I'm like, can't go back and watch. Think he's hot anymore.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of weird how even like remember back when schools had computer labs and we'd have computer class, and like that Tony Hawk game was so big, and if we were done with typing, we could play it. I mean, why was skateboarding such a big thing?
I know. I was even thinking like my stepbrother, like my youngest stepbrother, he was like so, and my step cousin, I mean, they'd go to like the skate park.
Yeah.
Just be out there for skateboarding.
Our skate park was like one half pipe.
Literally.
And one of those little like rails that they can like...
It was like literally nothing. But I think I could totally be making this up, but I feel like they like my stepdad and them made a like half bike.
Really?
Yeah. And like just it would like out of wood. Like I feel like it was on the deck or something. Like I feel like I remember them like making one.
I do love the Cali vibes of like skateboarding, and I saw a TikTok the one day about this little girl who like wanted to skateboard because her dad was a skateboarder. And so he literally started her at like 3 years old or something. And you know, obviously it's like she's all padded up and whatever. But it showed throughout the years of her. And then I don't know what year it got up to, like 9. And she's amazing at it. And it's just so cute just how like kids don't really have the fear. Yeah. And so when it's like when they go to do things, if they get hurt, you don't get hurt as bad either, because you don't have the fear of getting hurt. So you're not all tensed up and stuff. But it was so adorable. And I wish that we could have been little skate kids.
I know. Little skate. My mom used to call, when she was growing up, you were like, if you hung around the skateboarder guys, you were skate buddies.
That could have been us.
We should have been skate buddies.
Damn it.
Oh, gosh. Is so funny. But another movie I didn't get to finish this episode was Shallow Hal. And me and my husband just recently watched it because I think it was on Hulu.
That one doesn't really age very well.
I was literally thinking that, like, they could never make this movie. And
how are they even putting it on a streaming service?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, because we're so extreme right now, it was like, I mean, there was a couple times where I wanted to laugh, but I'm like,
can I?
Like, I can't.
Like, I know I'm in my own home, but can I?
Can't laugh at this.
I know. I saw some clips of that on TikTok like a month or so ago, and I'm like, well, this movie was like a wild concept, but the time, it really wasn't.
I know, and like they were cut just in the beginning. They're like really hard on the movie, and I'm like, but I don't know what year it came out, but you have to like look at it through that lens too, and it like wasn't okay then, or like it should have never been okay, but I do think like the movie did try to be like Love is Blind. You know, it's like the inner thing, but some of it was just funny.
I know.
I'm sorry, but it was funny.
Just like, that like slapstick comedy.
Yeah, and like when the part when they're like about to hook up and she like throws the underwear at him and he's like, where'd you like, okay, Houdini. And she's like, oh, shut up. Like, It's just so, and then the friend is just so horrible.
I know.
It's like another one we watched not that long ago too was The Ringer, and that'd be another one where you could just like not do it at all.
Just basically, like most of those early 2000s movies,
right.
like you cannot even.
No.
Speaking of body image, I saw that Heather Gay came out and was saying about the Ozempic stuff, and she's like, body positivity is a lie. I know that's kind of a harsh take or controversial take, but honestly, I mean, if you're looking at all the people that are on like Wegovy or Ozempic, I mean, she isn't wrong.
I know, and it's, I know, like, it is whatever, but
and especially in Hollywood,
right?
We'll say that too.
I know, and it's like, obviously we shouldn't be going around calling each other fat and ugly and cellulite covered and stuff. But at the same time, it's like you're seeing these people who were bigger and now they're so small. Like, what message is that then sending? It's like, I think it's like at the end of the day, especially if you're in the public eye, you want to be as skinny as possible.
Well, I mean, can you imagine like being Heather, for example, and you're on a reality show, you go to these events, you do press tours, yada, 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 and to just constantly feel like I'm the odd person out.
And even I'm the big one.
Yeah, and even some of her co-stars, like Mary Cosby which I know it's Mary Cosby, but made the comment of like, oh, I didn't even know, who was it that Gucci made a size 16 or whatever. I mean, really, like, come on. You would be sick and tired of it. And then when she finally caves and does Ozempic, then the different kind of attention you get, and then you realize, oh yeah, that was a crock of crap that everybody is saying.
I know sometimes those TikToks will pop up. They're like, no, I'm treated way better now that I'm thinner.
I mean, that's in everyday life too, like, which is horrible that people
I know that are mean to you if you're like
why?
bigger.
Like that's awful. I know I have somebody that I work with who is struggling with that just idea of like body positivity and being around other people who are very negative about it and makes comments about other people. And they were like, well, if they're going to make these comments about other people, I can only imagine what they say about me because I don't feel confident in myself, or I don't look like they do. And it's just like, God, why? But then we act like, no, everybody is beautiful. And it is, but clearly in reality, it's not. If we are all hopping on this weight loss drug and everybody's feeling so much better, being treated better, you know?
I know. And like, I like what, what was I going to say? Oh, and Heather McDonald was like bringing up the fact about how like now you've been the skinny friend, but now all of a sudden the other friends get to be the skinny friend too, and you're like mad at them. And that even happened with like, I think we've talked about it before, but like Adele, after she lost weight, how mad people got at her, like because they didn't lose weight, and so they're mad.
I know, it's so crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it's just wild. I don't know. I saw who was it? Claudia Osprey from Girl with No Job.
I don't know if I know that.
They have a podcast. It doesn't matter. I think Morning Toast. I can't remember what their podcast is called with her sister. It doesn't matter. I think if you saw her, you'd know who I was talking about. But she went on Ozempic and she was honest about it. And then I just saw a TikTok today where she said she's off of it now. And she's like, I am starving all the time. What are we eating? Like, I just had a 12-ounce steak and now I'm eating a snack. What is going on? I am a bottomless pit. And that is such a crazy thing because we heard all these, side effects and risk factors and everything. But like, once you get off of it, you're not gonna stay, like, you don't have the appetite suppressant anymore. So it really does, like, you have to fully maintain the changes. And I think that's why some people probably end up gaining the weight back, because it's like, okay, well, now I'm starving.
I know I was talking to a lady I work with who's like on it to lose a little weight and stuff for like her liver or whatever. And she was like going on, she like had stopped taking it and then was going to take it again. But she's like, I want to wait till after my vacation so I could like enjoy eating on my vacation.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You're right.
It is wild too. I can't remember the numbers, but I just heard, I think it was on Heidi and Spencer's podcast a few episodes ago. They were talking about it and how expensive it is if you don't have, like, if you don't have a medical need to be on it.
They don't cover it.
It is insane how pricey it is. Like, shocking. Like, because you deal with, oh my God, it's crazy. Hannah's not on it. She always works the way I said that.
Well, you've been using it. No, I'm not on it. I'd like to be.
I mean, if we have, I just wish that things like that were more attainable, like.
I know, or like, I'm just so weird about like medication stuff.
I know.
Anyway, that wouldn't, but maybe I would though if I was even bigger.
I mean, yeah, or if you've tried like a million other things and it just hasn't worked, why would you not
try it?
Yeah.
Right.
I did appreciate just how Heather Gay was very honest about that, though.
Like, listen, I know, and it's like is refreshing, and I know people are like, but it's like it really does like help, like these younger people seeing it, like how'd she lose all this weight? And then when they're like, no, I'm like taking something, like that transparency is going to help. Like, stop saying you just worked out.
I know. It's so annoying. Like we talked about with the housewives
portion
before.
Control.
Yeah. Or, with Erica Jane. Like, oh, no, I'm not. Okay.
I know. It's hormones.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hormones called Ozempic. Like, let's cut that. Come on now.
I know.
But hopefully now that we're like a ways after the initial craze, people will just be more honest about it. Like Oprah came out and said that she's been on it for a long time.
And didn't she deny it before or not?
I think she did. Well, because she has had her partnership with Weight Watchers for like decades, probably.
Early 2000s.
I know. And then I had heard that she came out and said she's been on it for, I think, like a few years. And so the money that she made from Weight Watchers, she's now feeling guilty and donating to, I think, to like a
awkward
African American historical museum or something. So it's like, okay, that's nice, but you kept that money for the past like few years.
Now all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Yeah, like everybody else is coming out with it, so you are too. But yeah, it's an interesting time we're living in with that for sure.
I know, it'll be interesting to see like what becomes of this. I also wonder too, like, are people just gonna like wither away to nothing?
I know.
Like, when does it stop?
Yeah, I know. What is small enough?
I know.
Really?
Skin about.
I know. Well, do you want to take a little break?
Sure.
Okay. The temperatures are starting to cool down, and you know what that means. It is cookie making season. So instead of making your own cookie dough or going and buying that prepackaged stuff at the store that we know isn't super healthy, why not try something that is actually made with good for you ingredients? That is where dough comes in. These cookie doughs are ready to make right out of the tub, and you can also eat the cookie dough raw because it is vegan and gluten-free. The best part is that it's enhanced with different vitamins and supplements that can support your immunity or help stabilize your mood. We have tried a few of these different flavors, and we're always eager to try new ones. They are so delicious. We've tried the donuts as well, which are so perfect to put in your lunchbox for work, and we're going to be trying some of the delicious spreads that they have soon. So if any of that sounds good to you, go to eatdough, That's dough spelled DEUX.com and use our promo code WATERBOTTLE for 10% off. That's eatdough.com and use promo code WATERBOTTLE. And we're back from the break. All right, Vanderpump. I think, okay, I'm not going to talk about every freaking detail this time because it was just way too long last time. We can cut through this. I don't have to say every single scene. I don't think anybody wants to listen. I saw a few comments out there. They said, while I enjoyed it, just kidding, there weren't any comments, but
we'll start writing our own comments on the burner accounts.
Okay, so this just kind of started where they left off. We're still in Tahoe. Did you notice when they're all showing the morning routines and Tom's writing in his journal? I paused it and read the journal entry.
I can't with them.
They had some parts that were blurred out, so I wonder like what he had said in there.
Like maybe it was about like Raquel.
Yeah,
or Rachel,
and they didn't want to put her in. Yeah, but it was very just like surface level, like May 1st, 2003, 9:44 a.m. Like it was so.
I know, and where's that journal now, Tom? I'm sure you're not used.
It was so just like. What even is it? Like a puff in his mind. This is exactly what he thinks. Like it was just so good.
The nail polish.
To see Scheana at the airport, and she told me to come over to their table. Things are really looking up. I still have some work to do with James, but I'm confident that things will go well. I mean, it was really just.
I can't.
It was just. I don't know.
I can't with them.
I know. It only gets worse in this episode. And then Scheana admits that Tom PayPal'd her several $1,000s during the pandemic at some point while she was pregnant. Now, I looked this up when she said her podcast was canceled. And I was like, when did that happen?
Right.
So I went back in her episodes and it looked like there was 1 month in 2021 where she did not have her podcast out. And that would have been when she was pregnant with Summer Moon.
So like on maternity leave?
Yeah, literally just 1 month. So I'm just, and then it made me think, how bad are you with your finances? Like, how much are you living beyond your means?
I know.
That you...
Because that doesn't make... Or, like, how is Sandoval... I know they were, like, 2 income, I guess. But I'm sure they kept their money probably pretty separate.
Mm-hmm.
How does he have money and you...
have nothing?
Don't. I don't know. It just...
I just found that really odd.
I know.
Like, the way she painted it was like, for the whole pandemic, I had no income coming in. Like, how did you not have anything? And it looked like through the majority of the pandemic, she had episodes released. So that was weird.
Yeah. Scheana exaggerates.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like she was, but on the after show, and I saw it like all over social media too, where Katie was basically saying, you can't just like buy your friends.
I know, that's what I was kind of thinking. It's like that you shouldn't, like, if he did that on his own, she doesn't owe him anything. But also, I feel like
it's such a weird thing. Like, even if I knew you were struggling and I had money to give, I would never just randomly send you a few $1,000s.
Right.
Like, that's almost insulting, I think.
I know. It's like,
you know?
Oh, I know. I don't even, I mean, it's so, and it says it's from Sandoval too. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what she was trying to get at either. I
also don't know if I would feel a different way had Sandoval not happened. Right. But if I just think about that in terms of like our friendship, that would be a very strange thing. Unless one of us came to each other and like, you know, one of us was more financially stable and said, hey, I'm really struggling. Like, can you help me? Like, that would be different.
Right.
Then but
I see you're
to just like send you Venmo, I don't know. Like, I would never in a million years do that.
Just seems weird. I know. I don't even know. It's just a little strange.
I don't have an extra several thousand to spare,
so don't ask.
Yeah, please don't ask. I love to turn you down. And this kind of becomes a theme of this episode too, with just Scheana feeling very conflicted, continuing to feel conflicted, which I understand where she's coming from. I really do. That is a very difficult thing. Mm-hmm. But with where she keeps talking about like Ariana isn't like understanding or validating her feelings. Well, why do you expect her to do that? I know,
she's not going to feel about Sandoval the way you're saying you're feeling about him. Like, she's just not in that place at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know if she ever even needs to be.
Right.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't want to have you coming to me saying that you were upset about not being able to be friends with my ex anymore. Like, I'd be like, talk to someone else about that.
Literally. And I know. I think Scheana I was like kind of having enough of it.
Yeah.
during this episode. But it was like, I don't get why you're like almost blaming Ariana for why you can't talk to Sandoval when Brock, which he like literally brought it all up. Like, do you like you pressed or like was fine with her pressing charges against me, and you were like putting out this rumor, which he denied, which I don't know if he did or didn't, but it's like you were not, you know, like contradicting that at all. You were all, it's like, thank you for reminding us all what he's done to Scheana. Like, it just wasn't making, like, she was just so fixated and trying to die on this hill to be friends with Sandoval. Why do you have to be friends with him right now?
Yeah. Why, if you want to bridge that gap later on.
Right. Like,
okay, but
why space
now? Yeah. You don't need to go into anything with him.
I know. And just like this whole, and I feel like with even the yoga part and just the whole trip in general, like I actually thought that was pretty horrible of like,
I did too.
Bravo to put somebody who's clearly that upset in this situation.
Me too.
Like that, I can't imagine like that situation happening and then they're like, okay, now you're gonna go on this trip with them.
Well, that's what I said in my notes. I'm like, this whole wellness retreat or wellness class is so set up.
I know.
And it's manipulative.
I know, it was
and
evil.
Horrible. Yeah, like that was just terrible to do to Scheana. And whether she like knew kind of what was happening, I mean, to me, her emotions seemed very genuine. Like she was not ready for that.
No.
You know, and even from the beginning where Tom's out there talking to the instructor and like, so what's been going on? Oh, well, let me tell you. I mean, come on.
It was so icky.
Yeah.
Like, I just did not think like it at all.
So they're all out there, and then Brock comes in late because he was golfing. Apparently they had like other friends. I don't know who the heck, or were they producer? Like, I don't know who he was with.
I hate when shows like do that. It's like, tell me what he just went by himself. Yeah. Like it just, none of that. I don't know. That's annoying.
But anyway, so he comes in a little late and he doesn't sit by Scheana, and you can literally see her like panicking.
I know.
Like you just see it on her face.
I know. And even later when he's like explaining stuff, I wanted you guys to have like that moment.
Why?
I know, she's not uncomfortable, and she literally asks you to come over.
Yes, when they did so they said, the instructor said, okay, now we're all gonna pair up, and since we have an odd number, that means we're gonna have a group of 3. Brock was sitting by Allie and James, so he joins that group of 3, and Scheana literally says, why can't you join mine? Because she's right next to Sandoval.
She's
and he said, well, I'm over here already. You're fine over there. She clearly isn't.
She wasn't fine.
So then they do this back-to-back thing, and you're supposed to communicate with your partner about how you're feeling and the pressure, and Scheana just loses it. Like, she just has a complete breakdown. She leaves, and then Brock follows her, and that's when she kind of lets Brock have it, like, rightly so, because he should have been there to support her.
Should have let him have it even more.
Yes.
Really.
Like, that was so just icky to watch, I thought.
I know.
You know, and they just put her in that, like...
They could have literally put Sandoval and Schwartz, could have did it together, and Scheana could have did it with Lala.
Even Lala and Sandoval.
Yeah.
I think they would have had, you know, Lala seems to be, at least at this point, seems to be fine with him.
Right.
You know, clearly Scheana was not ready for that. Like, and then Brock's like, well, I thought it would be healthy and healing. Can you support your wife?
Literally. It was
like,
so
look
awful.
at her.
I know.
My God. It was crazy.
Weird. I didn't enjoy that.
And then after she kind of takes a little bit of time, she comes back out, and I thought this was so horrific too. The woman's like, okay, so I want you to close your eyes and kind of reflect. Then we see this montage of friendship moments with her and Sandoval, and then they say, okay, now I want you to face each other and look at each other as if you'll never see this person again. I'm like, what ever in your entire life.
They die. Yeah, and this is the last thing you're gonna say to them.
Are you freaking kidding me?
So gross.
It was so manipulative. It was unbelievably manipulative.
I know. I was like laughing and like cringing at this, and not a mean way to Scheana necessarily, but it was like, what is this? Like, I could not believe that was happening. I'm like, I can't.
I wrote down, besides the look at this person like you'll never see him again, and then love before the loss. What is, like, did Sandoval literally pay this woman himself?
I know. I could not figure it out. Was this a production thing?
I mean,
like,
that was
terrible.
Crazy. So then they kind of have a moment after that reflection piece to talk to each other. Right. And Scheana is basically like, you know, I don't know you. I don't know how to be friends with you right now after all this. And he's like, you do know me, though.
I know.
You just don't understand the situation. Like, come on. I felt like I was just hitting my head against a wall. That was just, I hated that scene so much.
I know. It made me the whole thing of it was gross. I didn't get it. And it was just not it.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we said last week too, where he is working off people one by one of who he can get back on his side. So he had his
the weakest link at this point.
Right. We already know Schwartz is basically in the bag. Yeah. He had that conversation with James.
Right.
You know, Lala's kind of coming into the fold. Now he gets Scheana. It's like, instead of actually working on the real problem and showing true contrition through his actions, he's just trying to manipulate and play off of people's emotions to get them back being his friend.
It's terrible.
It really is. It's when is this gonna end?
I know it. And like we kind of said, like, I feel like that is why this season isn't working very well. It's like, it's not a bad season, but it's just, I can't deal with it.
It's frustrating.
I know,
to
especially,
watch.
And like we said, especially knowing what we know now and everything else he's still saying. It's like, what are we doing?
I know.
So awful.
I was just thinking that whole time, if we would be seeing, and I know we've said a lot of stuff like this is what they should have done or whatever, but if we would be seeing on this season Sandoval truly working on himself or doing things, you know, that are real, are genuine, to try and like build back that trust with the group and show that he is taking accountability and he is sorry and remorseful for his actions, that would be a completely different situation. And I really think that, like, most of the cast would respond to that.
I know. And like even during filming, it's like maybe we should have let them be separated from each other because this is not doing it.
Yeah, don't force it, you know? I don't know. Yeah, I hated that.
I know, it was terrible.
And then we cut to, you know, some Katie and Ariana stuff. Ariana's doubling down and saying that she's not going to be friends with anybody who wants to be friends with Tom, which plays into the stuff that Scheana's going through right now. And like, who does she choose? But from the after show conversations, like it seems like Scheana is just kind of, obviously we know that she supported Ariana all through Dancing with the Stars and whatever, but it seems like she's kind of frustrated with both sides. Like she's like, no, like Ariana didn't really support me with everything with that picture that came out and whatever, but she's also annoyed with Tom. So I'm not really sure where
flip-flop Scheana.
Yeah, and I don't really know where they stand now.
Right, and it's kind of like the whole, even like I think it was like the end scene where Scheana's like, well, I wanted Dancing with the Stars and I, you know, and all this and
she
that.
She knew I wanted that.
I know. I'm like,
okay, but you didn't get offered that.
Right. And it's like you're more mad at Ariana than you are at Tom. And it's like,
and she won't really admit that.
No, it's like, well, I'm going to be mad at Ariana instead because I don't even know why. Like,
well, Katie said in the after show that Scheana is a male sympathizer. And I think that she does
lean that way.
Yeah. And I think she does look for validation in men. And I don't know where that stems from with her. If it's just past relationships she's had, relationship with her father, you know, but she definitely does, because Katie brought up, she's like, when I was going through my divorce with Schwartz, all of a sudden Scheana and Schwartz are best friends and he really needs a friend right now. Like, what about me? What about Katie? You know?
Yeah. Which I think we've talked about in another episode. It's like, okay, well, Scheana, you also...
This is why people get frustrated with her, too.
Right, because it is so wishy-washy, flip-floppy, and I'm not into
it. Then they go on this, again, extremely awkward gondola ride. We're back in... or is that what it's called? Isn't a gondola in the water?
I feel like they called it that.
I know, I thought they did,
but
too.
But maybe they... I don't remember.
Anybody
boat,
listening?
Kind of
is that right? The one where they're like going up a mountain?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think they called it a gondola. Gondolo.
I thought so because that's what I wrote down. But anyway, I could be wrong.
I thought that was in Venice, the gondolas.
Yeah, when they're in the singing person.
No.
Okay, well, any of our listeners want to comment on that, go ahead and tell us we're wrong or right. I don't know. But it was so awkward in the little car with Schwartz, Sandoval, and Brock. Like, so unbelievably awkward. And Brock kind of brings up some stuff with how Scheana broke down at the wellness situation. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, gondola.
What are you even searching?
I said gondola lift.
Okay,
yeah,
it is.
What's the gondola boat?
There definitely is a boat too.
Really quick, sorry.
I think maybe are they just called the same thing?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, there we go. We figured it out. So
maybe gondola has a meaning like transportation.
Yeah, it's
or something.
Not just boat.
Anyway.
So yeah, he brings up like how Scheana is feeling and how she's just still hurt and stuff. And Tom, again, will not admit any type of wrongdoing or take any accountability.
It's like, why? Like, that's if somebody continuously kept doing that, I'd be like, okay,
I'm done.
We're done. We're not talking until I'm not angry or like until you see what you've done.
Yeah,
like,
until we can have a real conversation.
Right.
Yeah, he goes on this spew of, well, I never said anything about you guys and you said all this stuff about me and it was just relentless and blah, 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 blah. It's like the same thing he keeps saying over and over and over and over. Instead of just like realizing in that moment, Scheana was so emotional.
Yeah.
Just realized that she was emotional.
I know. And the way he just like right back to, he's pretending to have this like, he was tearing up and it was so real according to Scheana. And then he turns around and does that. It's like, hello.
I know.
Wake up.
And this is where I was like, thank you, Brock. Finally,
I know. When I said that, I'm like, wife. Thank you for turning around and like, defending your wife. But even just like, no, Sandoval, stop. It's like there's so many like parts to Sandoval that he's just like
glossing over. I know. The thing,
she did punch her. She did punch her.
Brock's like, okay, yeah, we're not even gonna go there.
I know.
But I just felt like, you know, if I were in that situation with my husband, I would hope that he would be like, stay away from my wife.
I know.
Stay away. We're done. Right. Like, enough is enough.
Not get him a beer later.
Yeah. I mean, it's just stand up for me.
Right.
Or I would do the same for him.
Right.
Like, come on, have my back. Don't put me in that awkward situation that you did earlier. Like, stand up for me, you know. And especially Brock, like, knows how difficult this whole thing has been on Scheana. And then he tries to, I don't know, Sandoval just tries to twist everything around.
Dude, are you kidding?
The big thing was that Brock says that Tom's team was the one that pushed out that rumor about Brock having an affair with Rachel.
I believe it.
I do too. And in the after show, Scheana, you know, because Sheena's like randomly so well connected. And she's like, I think that they used to share a publicist. And she's like, I know. And then Ariana says too that this publicist is like very well connected, and anything that is talked about or said, maybe in just a conversation that was had between him and Tom, that publicist might put it out there himself, thinking like, oh, this could be helpful. I don't think that Tom said, hey, put this rumor out there. But I mean, if they did a little bit of digging and people were saying it was coming from his camp, I believe it was coming from his camp.
At this point.
Yeah. And then we flash forward off the little ride, and then they
just
get
like
beers.
That in itself, it's like, why would you want to be friends with him, Scheana?
I know. It was so funny.
That's damaging your family.
It was so funny too. I saw a clip from Reality Ops on Instagram, and I didn't even realize this when I watched it through the first time. But when Brock and Sandoval are having like this heated conversation, Schwartz is in the middle, and he just keeps like sinking down lower and lower. And at one point, he like headbutts Sandoval like, enough. And he's just is literally like, oh God. Like, he's so uncomfortable and just wants it all to stop. Like, he doesn't say anything the whole time. And I didn't even realize because I was so focused
I kind of forgot
on
Schwartz was in there.
I know.
Guess it was the three of them in there.
But then, they go and get their beers and their drinks or whatever. And then Brock apologizes.
I know. I'm like, did you not just hear yourself say that he like tried to destroy your family?
Why are you apologizing?
Literally. Sorry, I got so heated. Well, why wouldn't you get heated?
This man is spewing nonsense at you.
And being combative like always.
That was insane.
I know, I'm like, that's why he gets away with this.
I know. And then Scheana's, this is where they bring up the page 6 group picture thing that we all heard about well before the show started. And that's when the whole flip-flop Scheana thing started. And Scheana's clearly upset about that this whole time. Then they go on the boat, and this is where basically everything goes down. Scheana FaceTimes Ariana, which makes no sense why she would do this, to tell her that she's conflicted.
I know, like, can just be on your trip. I don't know. It just seemed like, well, yeah, that's going to irritate Ariana. It's like, what?
Why tell her this?
Literally.
Why tell her? And then Lala confronts Tom for basically no reason. I thought this was so annoying, and we snapped about this earlier. It was just like, everything was going okay.
I know. And it's like, I get Lala's like still mad and like he had the audacity, but it's like, you're not going to get anywhere with this guy.
You're not going to get the answer you want.
No, he's not going to. He just called you a narcissist to Scheana like 3 episodes back. It's like, and he has said that to her before in previous seasons, like, you don't share your life or whatever. But then Jax would say it right back to Sandoval and Ariana. But anyway. So it's like, it's not like a new complaint, but the way he's using it is just stupid. Yeah. And pointless to have a conversation with this guy.
It was just like talking to a wall. Like, I don't know why she even brought it up.
And she knew it was going to get herself upset. That's why they just need to stay away from him. He makes them feel very activated.
Right.
And they should just not have to be on a boat in a vacation with them.
Yeah, we're literally the worst possible place. No one can escape anywhere. I did think it was kind of an interesting moment throughout that fight, because it seemed like at first Lala had her mic pack off, and then when like one of the times when she kind of walked out to the front of the boat, she must have taken it off because the audio was a little spotty sometimes. So I'm like, like, did she want to end the scene?
And that was something I noticed too. We saw the cameramen a lot. We did. It was very Teen Mom.
I know. And we're very just like TMZ like too, you know? Whoa. Basically Tom just freaks out, and then they ended up hugging it out, which everything I don't know how we got there, but somehow we did, and it was kind of annoying. And then Ariana and Katie are just interviewing, and I know this is mean to say. I feel like I'm being so hard on something about her, but when I'm watching these interviews, I couldn't help but think like, God, I hope they didn't hire anybody, because...
Well, and then it's like the trip and the interview thing just feels like dumb. I don't know. It's not real. I mean, maybe they really were interviewing people.
That's what is frustrating too. Like, I thought that something about her was a genuine thing. And like we talked about in multiple episodes, there are roadblocks. It's not easy to just open a restaurant or bar. Like, it isn't. You are at the mercy of a lot of city ordinances and stuff like that. But it's the more that we're kind of getting into this season, and they're like really plugging it throughout the season, and then we know what's happening right now, present day, it really does feel like this was kind of like a contrived storyline that the store never was even going to open. You know, I don't know how to feel about it.
I know. I definitely just think the interview thing was like, you're not really. I mean, I'm not going to an interview. I mean, I guess I would if it's Vanderpump Rules, but it's like, I'm not going to an interview that I have to be recorded for. Yeah. Like, I'm not taking that seriously.
And then they're like, oh, what's her name? Penny, that other lady or something. She's like,
or Peggy.
Peggy.
Is it Peggy?
I don't know. I thought it began with a P. But they're like, well, she's kind of dictating the interview and asking the question. I'm not interested in this storyline. Like, when we were on our way, we should have done the pod in the car on the way home, but from our macaroon class. But we were talking about that. Like, there are so many things that Katie and Ariana could be doing that would be so much more interesting on our television right now. This is not interesting at all.
I know. And Katie, you know, like, even in this episode, it's like, and I'm sure as the season goes on, she'll be on it more, but it's like,
she might as well not even be there.
I know. It's like, and it's kind of sad. Like we've said before, like, this season is not doing these people justice.
No, it's not. And like we said, and I know other podcasts have said too, like, Katie is so attached to Ariana right now, which is fine. But Ariana is very much like, I don't need this show, especially with all the other things she's doing. It's very clear. And like, for Katie, if she doesn't have the sandwich shop, then I don't really know what else she has. But since she's attaching herself to Ariana, it's like she's not really making her case for continuing on the show right now either. I don't know. It's just a really odd dynamic that everybody is in right now.
I know. And like, why can't we just have something a lot more genuine than whatever all this nonsense is.
Yeah, it just feels very, very produced. I do wish that something about her actually was up and going, because I think it would be kind of fun to see them like in it. And that's the thing too. Like, we're not even really seeing much of them in the process. Like last season, we saw them working with that woman to create the sandwiches, and then they did the tasting and stuff, but like we really haven't seen a lot.
I know, it would have been fun to like see them like in the room, like creating the look. I know they used that one person, I can't remember what that name is, but just like working with that, designing it, picking the location. It's like all that happened off camera, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it just wasn't interesting. I don't, I don't know. But anything would be more interesting than what we're getting right now.
Right.
Okay, then we're back to Tahoe, and Scheana and Brock are talking about Scheana just being emotional. Oh no, Schwartz and Brock. Sorry, I just wrote abbreviations. I'm like, when did this happen? But it was funny. Then Brock is like really drunk somehow, and then he's talking about like his pure love, and Schwartz is like, I'm looking for that. And then Brock goes, "That's what you had with Katie?" And he's like, "Well, no, not really." Which I thought was kind of like a just comedy break. That was just kind of funny. And then they kind of go home. I said again in my notes, Tom's trying to win everybody over, and then it's annoying. Then Scheana has her kind of breakdown again, where she's feeling bad about Ariana and her conflicting feelings, and then she admits that she wanted Dancing with the Stars, but she still says, I'm going to support Ariana if she wants me there. And she's still hurting, and I get it, but it's just, you got to read the room, girl. You have got to read the room.
I'm like, oh, you didn't get Dancing with the Stars? Well, now I don't have my significant other anymore.
Yeah, like, come on.
I have to leave my house at some point.
I think one of us has it a little bit worse. And then Lala says that Ariana needs to come back to reality and remember who her actual friends are.
And get her head out of her butt. Which I thought was... it's not just about like her saying that about Ariana, what Ariana went through, but for like Lala to have the audacity. I know,
it's insane.
The audacity to really say something like that.
I
was like,
and then then she basically like doubled down. I feel like that's the term that we use all the time, doubled down. But they're doubling down constantly on Watch What Happens.
Yeah,
and was like, yeah, stand by it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, Lala. Well.
And Scheana just she feels like her feelings aren't being validated with Ariana and Katie, which, like we said, why would they be?
I know. Or like, what? Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I just don't think, like, if you think, or we're told that Tom's people spread a rumor about your family, like trying to wreck your family. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't want to talk to you right now.
It's just kind of unthinkable that she even
wants to entertain this at that point.
And I believe that that Ariana would be able to say, I understand that this is a difficult time for you. You lost a couple friends. I'm not the only one that lost things. But it's the fact that Scheana, she just is like, she can't let it go in any way. And it's like, why? Like, this person or these people, if we include Rachel, have shown you in multiple ways
what kind of people they are.
Yeah, they're not true friends to you. Why do you want them back? And then I think, as it is kind of annoying that Ariana she is, but isn't giving an ultimatum.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, so if something like this happens again where Tom hurts Scheana, does Ariana want to be there to pick up the pieces with Scheana? Like, no, she's going to be like, we went through this already.
Right.
You didn't learn.
Right. And it's like, you know, she's always bringing up this stuff about how close her and Sandoval were, but think about like, why were you so close with him the past whatever years? It's like, because he was friends with he was dating your best friend.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Sandoval, the person that you want like in the retirement home with you.
He's gone.
Yeah, he don't want nothing to do.
No, and
now with this like a lawsuit coming back up and Rachel saying, you know, kind of like bringing you back into it, but not. Yeah. It's like.
It's continuing.
Yeah.
And you honestly just look stupid because you're playing yourself for a fool.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the episode. The one thing I wanted to bring up about Tom giving the money to Scheana in the after show, they were saying like, you know, do you do these things to feel good about yourself? You know, we kind of said that last episode, I think too. And Tom goes, you know, I tell everybody on their birthday what they can do is give a homeless person $100. And I have the best way to do it too. You just go up to him and be like, hey, can you hold this for a second? And you give them the money and then you walk away. I'm like, what is the point of telling this story? Again, it's you trying to make yourself seem so much better than you actually are. You're telling me that you tell all your friends, hey, you know what you should do for your birthday? Go out and give a homeless person $100.
Okay,
I don't believe that for 1 second.
He said that one time.
Like,
and now and then the story is, I tell all my friends every year.
Yeah, it's like, and then having to over explain like, oh, and here's how you can do it. I got the best way. I've tried it. It works really well. Like, what are you doing? Do you hear yourself?
Literally.
Do you hear what you sound like?
He's so... out of touch with everything. Emotions, reality.
Yeah, himself. Like, it really is, it's baffling.
It's painful.
It is. Every episode gets a little bit more painful.
It's awful. I'm like, I can't. It's like getting to the point where I don't even want to see his
I know. Like,
face.
I don't even want to watch it live so I can like fast forward.
I know.
Well, that was that. And then it looks like in this next episode, Lala kind of confronts Ariana a little bit about not having Scheana's back. And yeah, I don't know why Lala is the moral compass all of a sudden.
And I feel like Ariana could just flip that right around on Scheana.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's see what happens.
To kind of segue into Beverly Hills and tie in VPR. Did you listen to Juicy Scoop on Tuesday with Brandy and Julie?
Yes.
Okay. We said this before. I am so sorry, Brandy and Julie. I cannot keep you two straight. I'm not sure which one is Brandy and which one is Julie. And every time I think I have it, I'm wrong. I know. But one of them is very like strongly believes that Bravo should have given Rachel
okay, I remember
all this money that she wanted and all the terms that she wanted to come back on the show, and she was saying how if they would have done that, then this lawsuit never would have happened, and like Bravo's basically
definitely an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't agree. Like, I don't think that you should be rewarded for something like that, especially if we're going off, like, if it was nothing else but they had an affair, okay, but it wasn't that. She literally left, checked herself into a
she should not be on a reality show.
They should not have her back.
No.
Like, so did we forget about that? Like, it would be a liability for them to bring her back on the show, and quite frankly, it would be irresponsible of them to do that.
Honestly, with Sandoval saying what he's saying, he shouldn't be on the show either.
Yes,
at this point.
I mean, it would, and knowing how she would kind of get torn apart, right? Maybe not the whole season, but at least the first 4 or 5 episodes, it would have been rough for her.
Right?
Why would they even put themselves in that situation where like something could happen? They knew that she was in this treatment facility. Like, they shouldn't even entertain her coming back.
Right.
And I just think saying like, no, she should have gotten the same amount of money. Okay, well, maybe that is a pay scale that Bravo has.
Right.
But it's what is in place.
Right.
And if they changed that for her, they'd have to change it for everybody else. It would throw everything off. Like, that would just be a complete revolt in the Bravo universe. Like, I just think it's wild to have that perspective.
No, if I'm Rachel, yeah, I think she should have tried to ask for more money.
Of course.
But I don't think they owed it to her.
No.
Especially when most of it was, all of it was happening basically off camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're not giving me that footage. Maybe if she was giving them that footage, then
if it was fully playing out on camera. Yeah. And then it brought in a whole nother conversation about like housewives and just people on reality shows in general with their storylines. And it's like, some people, they don't have these super juicy lives, but they're still interesting, like people to have as part of a show. And I don't think that those people should just be paid substantially less than the people who are like seeking out the drama. Right.
Like, it's not like their fault they're not going through divorce.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. It was an interesting conversation, I thought, because I feel like people really aren't having a ton of that conversation and floating around until like the Sandoval thing happened. Yeah. But I know I agreed with that. But I still feel like if you are getting paid, I mean, they're getting paid a lot, even if it's not as much as a veteran on the show. But you still have to be able to have like a dynamic with the people that is entertaining, even if your life isn't entertaining.
Right. And it can't just all be one drama after another drama after another. Like, and I think that if we up the pay grades for people or offer bonuses or whatever, we run the risk of having shows that just aren't even reality TV anymore.
Right. They're just like, oh, I'm just gonna pick up. Like, it would almost be like 100 cameras.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
No, I don't, because it's not. I mean, that's what we said all last season of Orange County was that it was just so like not fun to watch because Tamara was just trying to create these fights inauthentic,
like drama.
Yeah,
I know, and I know there's kind of like, we want to see like all the crazy and stuff, but sometimes I do enjoy when like seeing people happy and stuff. Like, I think there's a way to do it that does make it interesting.
Well, and I think it is, since we've been watching these shows for so long too, it is very clear when things aren't genuine.
Right.
I mean, I do like watching a blowout fight or a big scandal unfolding, but if it's so obvious that this was just produced and planned, then it's not as fun to watch anymore. Like, we can't go back to the hills.
Right.
We're at a completely different time. The audience is smarter than that. Like, I just don't think that we're rewarding people who are boosting the ratings because they're bringing drama is the way to go, because then people are going to come on these shows and just want to stir up drama constantly for no reason. Right.
And then that eventually trickles into their real lives. It's like, I don't want people's lives destroyed over, like, believe it or not, I don't want to see that.
As much as we might not make it seem like that.
It's like, I don't want to see. I know.
I did think it was an interesting perspective to have. It just wasn't one that I agreed with.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I think it was an interesting conversation. And like, I feel like it was kind of like, that's where we're at with the housewives.
Yeah,
so right now it's like, where do we go from here? What do we want to see on camera?
Well, because even with Beverly Hills this season with Crystal, I mean, I just think that she's pretty boring in general. She doesn't give a lot, but it's not even because like we're not seeing stuff about her family. It's just, I just don't think that she's like,
well, her dynamic, like even in it's like their dynamics just aren't working.
Yeah, they're
season.
just they're not meshing at all.
No.
But I think that just seeing her as an example, if we did see more with her family, like, it could still be interesting if she was just a fun cast member on trips. She could still be interesting. She doesn't have to be yelling and screaming and throwing things. And like, I don't want to see that all the time.
Right.
Like, it's just.
And like, even this season in general, it's like Erica, like, might as well have not have been on it either.
Yeah, but she still was. I think
I'm just saying overall this season wasn't working.
I agree with you though. Like, if you just think of it as a whole, you might forget about her a little bit because she didn't have a ton. But then I still think that she is a powerhouse on this season because she is still interesting in general. Like, she does come out with her little lines. She has her like feuds with some people that seem very genuine because of who we know she is, because we've had so much character development with her. Like, but you're right. I mean, this was definitely a more tame season for her.
I know, and then that almost gets into the question too. It's like, did they not show her as much because she wasn't getting in fights with people? And
or did they not show as much because she has her special coming up?
It's like, what's going on here? Like, something's missing. Yeah. Not making any sense. But
so tonight, when we're recording this on Wednesday, is the part 2 of the reunion. I just wrote a couple highlights from part 1. Basically, the Kyle text to Dorit where Dorit was saying that Kyle was trying to like silence her, basically. I mean, did I think the timing of that was weird? Yeah. Do I think that Kyle's kind of trying to minimize their relationship? Yeah. Do I think Dorit is dramatic? Yes.
yeah.
I think all of the things are true.
Right.
And then Dorit continues to be very tone deaf with all the racial things. I mean, she just was digging a hole for herself, like between the conversation with Garcelle and then the conversation with Crystal. Like, it was not, she had to have been burning over there in her chair. Like, it was uncomfortable to watch all that unfold. And then, the Anna Marie.
It is Anna Marie. Why would you spell it like that?
Yeah, what were your parents thinking? So then she says that she's actually had all these other things that were going on. Her mom ended up passing away.
Right.
But the thing is like, that is horrible. That's very, very sad that happened to her, obviously.
Right.
But like, I don't really care that all these things happened to you that weren't shown on camera, because I feel like they weren't on the show for a reason.
Right.
Like, they were on the cutting room floor or weren't filmed for a reason.
Right.
And the parts that were filmed and shown of you were pretty awful.
I know. And it's like, if I have to remember, think about this esophagus.
I'm going to lose it.
I know. I'm like, from either one of them.
I'm going to rip out my own esophagus. Like, I cannot listen to this anymore.
I know. It was just.
And we had to go round and round on that again.
Thing. It's like, okay, let's just agree to disagree at this point.
Like, I don't want to hear. And then we both said we tried to listen to her episode on Juicy Scoop. I don't even know how far I got through it, and I couldn't do it anymore. I just could not. If she comes back for another season, I don't know what we're doing. Like, I truly don't. Beverly Hills will be tough to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Kyle says Dorit kind of does what she does to keep herself in line with the audience, which, I don't know. I just think in general, Dorit is a very like middle of the line person. Like, she doesn't really ever strongly take a side one way or the other, because I think she just wants to position herself in a way where she can easily hop to one side of the fence if she needs to. And then for this second part, it's basically all that we've seen was Kyle accusing Sutton of giving nothing.
Yeah.
Which I heard an interesting take. I can't remember what podcast it was on, and I can't remember if we discussed this or not. But just because, like, Kyle has been on this show for so long and has had these, like, life moments, big life moments on the show, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's still sharing everything.
Right.
I think that was made clear this season, that there were a lot of things that were happening under the surface that we didn't know about.
Right.
And so I mean, and the same with Sutton. I don't think she's been completely transparent, but I don't know if it's fair for Kyle just to be like, I've shown all these things and whatever. Well, you've been on the show a lot longer too.
Right.
And you started on the show at a different point in your family life. So like, yeah, your daughters grew up and went to college and, you know, I just don't know if that's a good like point to start a fight on.
Right. Or like, I know, and I feel like we are starting to hear that, like, even when Sandoval was doing that and stuff, it's like, I don't know. And clearly, and it does kind of make me wonder, too, more about their marriage. That we, like, was another thing we weren't actually seeing the full picture. And, like, you know, like, where there's smoke, there's fire and stuff.
Yeah.
And it just feels kind of like, for it to be so vague this season just feels kind of like a disservice to the fans.
I know.
Who've kind of like stood around and defended your relationship.
For so long. Well, and then I saw this stuff about, what's his show called? Buying Beverly Hills? Mauricio's? I think it's Buying Beverly Hills.
Might be.
Yeah, because it's like a play on Selling Sunset. But where I guess that he's kind of talking a lot more, he and Kyle, about their separation on that show, and were they using that as like a bait to get people to hop over to Netflix to watch that, which I'm not doing.
Which would seem like crazy on Bravo's end.
I know.
Like, I feel like they should have each got a little bit. Right?
Well, it's kind of crazy that Netflix even has his show and Bravo doesn't.
I know. I thought that was kind of weird too. I mean, like, it makes sense because of like the Selling Sunset stuff.
But Bravo
like,
must have passed on it. I would think that they would have had first dibs on that.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, you're not going to get me to start watching that. I'm not. So
I know. I'm not. I guess I'd be more interested in Kyle if Kyle was actually on the show.
Yeah,
more.
It seems like she's on it a little bit, but not a main focus. All right. Well, I think we did pretty good.
Yeah.
We got it done in an hour and 36 minutes.
Cool.
That's a half hour faster than last week. I was just going to recommend that people should try a cooking class or baking class, break out of your comfort zone.
Give it a little try.
Yeah.
You'll never know what you'll learn.
And obviously, wherever you live, I'm sure there's many different options. But since we went to Sur La Table, I'll link their classes and their calendars so people, well, I guess it depends where you are, but I'll just link that. Did you have a different recommendation?
I was just I'm starting to do it. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I'm going to throw it out there for anybody else. To take like castor oil and like rubbing it on your stomach and stuff, it's supposed to like help with like digestive stuff too, but it's also supposed to help with period cramps.
Interesting.
But I don't know how long you have to do it before that'll start happening.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you have to like be doing it continuously for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then, but I was reading a lot of comments about it and people are saying, yeah, it works. And like their stomach, like their digestive and stuff.
Wow.
And then some people said they had like fibroids and it like shrunk them.
My gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's all try it.
Did you just start it?
Yeah, just started it like 3 days ago or something.
Are you taking it? Like, are you having a spoonful?
No,
I'm just rubbing it
rub
on your stomach?
They say just to do it like topically. So
interesting.
I know. So I'm gonna just, since I have castor oil for my hair, I'm like, I'm just gonna put it on my stomach and see if it'll eventually like.
That would be nice for the period cramps.
I know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting to me.
Yeah. If anyone out there has tried that, let
me know. Yeah. Did it work? Did it work on? Yeah. People are saying it was like helping with all like the stuff down in there. So,
wow.
But they called it like, I can't remember what they called it, but you're supposed to like put it in your belly button, like oil pulling your belly button. But then then rub it around and stuff, which I haven't really been like letting it marinate in my belly button.
Let it really soak in.
I'm like, because then other people said too that they kind of felt like they had like the flu and like
from using
like it because it's almost like a detox.
Oh,
and they were like, some people are wrapping it in like the plastic wrap to like kind of do like a detox around your stomach. But I haven't tried that yet. Like, I'm just gonna try this first, and
one
then
step at a time.
Point, because I'm like, I just still have to get up and go to work. Like, I don't know how sick. And then some people said they didn't feel sick, but a lot of people were like, yeah, because you're like detoxing.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that before.
No, especially the belly button.
Well, if it works for you, then I'll start it.
I know. Like, I'm just gonna try. I don't have anything to lose. I'm already lotioning everything up anyway, so might as well
add that to the routine.
Right. As if it couldn't get any longer. 3 hours later, I like put on a YouTube video that's like 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's like, I got the video done.
It's like 2 a.m.
Literally. Just rubbing castor oil. Anywho.
Oh, all right. Well, guys, don't forget, please follow us on our socials. Give us a review. Rate us. That would be amazing. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you find a podcast, we're there. And yeah, we would really appreciate it because we love and appreciate you.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Bye.